people tend to think of hand tools as very crude and slow and hard work, but I like working with hand tools for several reasons. One, it's much quieter. There's much less danger of injury. It's much less messy. So if you're working in a more limited environment where you can't be making lots of noise and dust and all that, if you're working in an apartment or something like that, you can still build pretty much anything you want. The other nice thing is it's just the feeling of connection with the work. I mean, you really feel that it's you doing the work and your skill, not because your machine was better than another machine. It's because you actually put in the effort to learn it and figure it out and work through all the mistakes and be able to do it. Okay, so first with the number 5 plane, I'll do diagonal cuts. And do lengthwise cuts. So now I'll go to the smallest plane, number 3. I'll set this for a very light cut. So when people are first using the tools and they're trying to figure out how to handle a hand plane, they don't realize that their brain and their body are going through just all kinds of gyrations trying to figure it out as fast as they can. How to hold the plane, how to push it, where to stand, how to sight down it. So there's a lot of things that have to be sorted out, and the only way that you sort them out is just by practicing. So again, just like playing a musical instrument, how do violinists know where to put their fingers? Is it magic? No, it's because they put thousands of hours of practice into it. And it's the same with using these hand tools. It just doesn't take that much practice to be able to be proficient with it. And nothing produces a surface like a good, nice, sharp hand plane. So I'll just put a little bit of mineral oil on each of these stones to act as a lubricant. And then I'll start the actual sharpening process. So this is a coarse, medium, and fine stone. So I do that until I just feel a burr on the end, and then I can shift over to the next stone. And the next. And then finally to a very fine stone. So one test is, will it cleanly slice a sheet of paper, just setting the edge on there. But of course, we're not using the chisel to cut paper, so what we'll do with wood. And a good test for the sharpness of the chisel is take some pine and see how well it nicely slices across the end grain. Because pine is so soft, if the chisel is not sharp, it'll more crush and break the fibers rather than shear them cleanly. So I get my initial level of roughness cut off, and then I want to see if I can produce nice light shavings. And one of the interesting things about this is you can use the sound of the tool to tell you how it's working. If it sounds right and the tone changes as you're getting near completing the cut. And then the final test is actually do some more realistic chisel work, which is cutting across the grain like I've shown you before. There's a special kind of saw here, which is a frame saw, and this is what they actually would use for making veneer back, a couple hundred years ago. And it's really pretty amazing how well it works. It takes a bit of practice learning how to control it, but not really that difficult. And once you do, it's just amazing the work that it can do. So I set this across the top. Oh, I've got to tighten this up. So this needs to have a lot of tension on it. In fact, more tension than I can do by hand. There's a nice lever arm on there. Now I can really crank this up. And I can also listen to the sound of the blade. It sounds a little like a clock chime. And one of the interesting things about working with hand tools is it's a very complete sensory experience. Here you can work all of your senses exposed, and you use that. So you see where a tool is cutting, you listen to the sound that it's making to judge if things are going well, or if you need to maybe sharpen the tool or change the angle of cut or cut from the other direction. And then you have the smell of the wood, the freshly cut shavings that everybody just loves that. And you feel the vibrations of the tool in your hand. So once again, that's telling you how things are working. Is it working well, or is there's something not working right? You need to change it. So it really involves your whole being much more than working with power tools, where mostly you're just trying to avoid hurting yourself as you work.